Hello there captains, welcome to this tutorial. This is the first tutorial of me with voice, so I hope you enjoy this. We will be doing a full flight from Brussels Airport to London Heathrow in the Zibo 737-800, and I'm going to use this as a beginner's guide, so anyone who's a bit more advanced in this aircraft, this tutorial won't be for you. But if you're just getting started with this aircraft, I hope you enjoy this. So let's get started. So take a look around in the cockpit and you should see a bunch of things which I'm going to explain very briefly. So first step is get the battery running. So go to the overhead panel and use the battery to push that to the on position and close the guard. Close the emergency exit lights guard. Then if you have ground power enabled, so if you have that available, you can connect it right here, which I'm going to do right now. This will make sure that there will be a little card right here connected to the aircraft, which will give me external power. If you have done that, you should see in the overhead panel a ground power available light come on, and just push that to the on position. Next I'm going to start the APU, so give the aft one pump some fuel and start the APU. So hold the start position for 3 seconds, 1, 2 and 3, there we go. And after that the gauge should come up. Now while that is doing its thing, I'm going to align the IRS, so switch both of these to the nav position like so. Okay, that's done. The APU is booting up like so, you should see that at this gauge. So we're going to set up the FMC right now, so maybe I should start the flight leg as well, very important, like so. Now I've got a operational flight plan on the left side of me on my second monitor, which will be showing me my waypoints I will be using to fly this to London Heathrow. I will get all the information I need, so the amount of fuel, the amount of payload, and all these things. So I've already filled that in right here, but you should do that as well. I've got a tutorial on that and I'll give a cough right now. Okay, after you've done that and set up this as accordingly, you can go to the FMC, which is this little computer right here. So open the FMC, go to pause in it. Our referential airport will be Echo Bravo Romeo, which is Brussels Airport. Copy the coordinates and paste them in right here. Now go to the route, go to fill in the same airport from the origin, and we'll be going to Echo Golf Lima Lima, which is London Heathrow. Our flight number, you can make that one up, but in this case it is 259er. Our departure runway will be 25, right? Perfect. You can click this button. This will basically copy all the settings right in the fuel, weight, balance and fuel section of the tablet and paste them in right here. You can fill them in manually as well. We have 0 reserves and we have a cost index of 20. So our cruising altitude will be 24,000 feet or flight level 240. We are flying in perfect conditions, so that means we have no clouds, we have no extraordinary temperatures, so I'm not going to fill that in right now. As I said, this is a beginner's guide. It should give you a basic vision of what X-Plane 11 and the Zibo 737 does. So execute that, so then you should see the actual perf in it come up here. Okay, let's just take a look at the departure and arrival section. Now we're going to fill in our route. Now we will be departing from Halle 6C. So this is a pre-made route that the airport gives the aircraft. So now let's go to the route, next page. So you should see that we'll be using this set to Helen, the waypoint Helen. Now I'm going to fill in my route, which will be from Helen to using UL 179er to Koa. So if you have seen my FMC tutorial, you should be able to fill this in on your own. So I'm going to speed this up. So if you have filled all these in to the very last, you can go again to the departure and arrival section, click on arrival, and select your star, which will be in this case LAM 3A. So another tip is, if you're a complete beginner to everything, so X-plane level and the Zibo, I really recommend using the same route and the same settings I am using right now, so you can get a basic vision of what this does. Now, I don't have any rudder pedals at home at the moment. I'm really wishing I can get those shortly, so I am going to use an ILS approach. Why am I using an ILS approach? Because ILS stands for Instrument Landing System, and what this does is it guides itself, or it guides the aircraft to the runway without me doing anything. So the autopilot controls the aircraft. So I will be using an ILS on runway 27 right. Do that, and our glide slope will be from LAM. Okay, our route can be activated right now, so activate execute. Then takeoff. Our default takeoff flaps will be 5 degrees. Center of gravity is right there. Our trim will be 4.20, so use the trim wheel to set that up, which is already set. Okay, there we go. Our V speeds are not showing up yet, so we need to go to the route. Takeoff is set, yes. Then why aren't you showing anything? Is it because no? Pause is set. Index. Our perf init is also done. Our N1 limit, yeah. Oh yeah, our N1 limit here. So just click this. It will automatically copy the settings of the weather and paste them in right here. Okay, so go to takeoff. Now the V speeds show up, so copy them, and these will be the V speeds we'll be using. So V1 is the first speed where you can't abort the takeoff, so you should take off. VR or V rotate is the speed where we need to rotate the aircraft, and V2 is our climb. All set and done. You can see the runway information right here. So we have a runway of 12,000 feet, or 3,655 meters. Now after that you can go to the legs page and make sure that there aren't any mistakes or discontinuous in here. If there are, you should check your flight plan or your route on any mistakes, if there are mistakes. If you're sure there aren't and everything is set up correctly, normally there shouldn't be any discontinuous, and otherwise you should just copy the waypoint after the discontinue and paste it in. You should copy the waypoint after the discontinue and paste it in again. So if that all is set up, we can abandon the FMC as it is all set up. The IRS is still aligning, so we need to wait for that. But in the meantime, I will be setting the auto brakes to the rejected takeoff. Our flaps will be set to 5. Okay, I will be listening to the ATIS right now, and the ATIS frequency of Brussels is 1 to 1.75. So
Brussels Airport Information Victor 500 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 4000 scattered, temperature 14, dew point -15. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runway 01, departing runway 01. Advise on initial contact you have Victor.
So, if you're using VATSIM or Pilot Edge on a network which is online with other pilots and ATC, the ATIS is very important, and mainly for the information about your initial contact, some weather information, some wind information, all these things. But I'm not going to use Pilot Edge or VATSIM, so that's not really important right now. I'm just going to use the altimeter, which is 2992, which is the default altimeter. It's already filled in by default. So if you happen to have a different altimeter, you can change that in right here. I believe it's like, no, it's yes, it's like this. So you just scroll the upper wheel and you can change the altimeter. So in this case 2992. All set up. Okay, now we can boot this airplane up, I think. Yes. So first of all, the MCP we're going to enable the flight directors, set our cruising altitudes, which will be flight level 240. Our heading should be our runway heading, which is 250, like so. Our course as well. When you've set that up, you need to set the our speeds of the aircraft on climb, which will be 250, like so. All set up. Now we're going to start the engines and push back, but I did this recording already 4 times or something like that, so the pushback part was pushing me all the way onto the runway, so way too far. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and going to push back the aircraft manually, like this, and try my best to align it correctly. I'm not risking that the pushback part is pushing me way too far, like so. That seems okay. Okay, so during the oh, I forgot that I need to use the APU gens. So now, yeah, during the pushback you should start the engines. So how you do that is by enabling the strobe lights. That will notify the crew that you're going to start your engines. Then do the engine bleeds to off and the APU bleed to on. Make sure the packs are off and the isolation valve to auto. That's all set. Okay. Then you can start the engine, so you can switch this to guard, engine number 1, and you should see this come up. When this is at 25%, you can introduce fuel by switching this lever to idle, like so. Now we have introduced fuel and the engine is running. Okay, that's all good. When this switches back to auto, you can start the next engine, like so. Switch engine number 2 to guard. Now engine number 2 is booting up. Okay, introduce fuel there, and we have 2 good engine starts. Make sure these indicators are not in red or way too high or way too low. They should be the same normally. Okay, all set up, like so. Now we're going to clean this up, so make sure you've set your flight altitude, or otherwise your cabin won't be pressurized. So this is really important that you fill this in correctly to your cruising altitude. You enable all the fuel pumps, so this goes away. Now we can use the engine generators, so switch these and go set the APU gens to off. Use the engine bleeds right now. Now the packs can come to auto, like so. And I think we can kill the APU right now, so switch the APU to off. Now the APU is going off. Yaw damper on, probes on. Window heat not necessary right now. That's only in really cold conditions. Or hydraulic pumps can come on, and we are all set up right there. Now for the lights, I've done a tutorial on that in my cool and dark tutorial, I think. So if you're curious how to set these up, you can see that right there, but I'm not going to do that right now. And now we're going to taxi. I am using X-Live, so there are different planes taxiing as well, so I need to be careful how to taxi. I'm going to give my fly plane to X-Live. Okay, now what I've set this all up, I'm going to disable X-Live for now, so I don't need to manage that. Okay, again, this is a beginner's guide, so I'm not going to go into detail way too much. Okay, just first something I need to do, I need to set this to roll, so I control the front wheel with my yoke, and we're going to taxi. So I will be taxiing via, I've got the chart next to me, to Bravo 1, and no, to Echo 6, then B3, we'll be taxiing right now. So I'm going to get a yoke in and introduce a little bit of power and disable the turn off the parking brake like so, and now we get on rolling. And you can actually set the engines to idle when taxiing. You can see your ground speed right here. Just keep this under something like 25 or something like that, because you don't want to be taxiing way too fast. Just give ATC and other aircraft time to do things. So as I'm entering the runway, make sure there's no traffic on left and right. Then you can turn on the landing lights, the runway turn off and taxis. Actually, those should be on. Oh, I need to brake. Oopsie. Yes, okay. So those should be on when taxiing. Then our local light should be off, strobe on both, anti-collision and wing on, wheel well off. So that is all set. Now we can enter the runway. Flaps are set, clear down, RTO. Yes, we're all set. Switch this to LNAV. This won't do anything until we're in the air. That's all set. Vertical speeds, yes. Approach. Okay, all set. Set this one. Oh no, we need to enable our auto throttle for that. So I'm going to gently enter the runway. Verify your runway by those letters right there, which is in this case 25 right, which is correct. Okay, come to a full stop, and then you should do your checklist. So call in ATC, which we aren't using right now. Make sure your auto brakes are set to RTO, your MCP is all set up, landing lights are on, runway turnoffs are on as well. And everything looks fine to me. Fasten seatbelts on. Yes, everything looks fine. It is possible that I've missed something, as I'm not really paying attention to the checklist right now, so I'm going to give some like so. Toga, full thrust. Airplane, what are you doing? Okay, something really went terribly wrong. My engine gen switched off. Okay. Rotate. Take off gently. Like so. Gear up. Keep the runway heading, as long as you're following the runway. Trim the airplane a little bit. Flaps too. Gentle turn and follow the waypoints. Aim for a climb of 2000 feet. So I'm a bit too hard right now. Ease a bit on the speeds. You can see that you need to pay attention to a lot of things. So I'm paying attention to traffic, to the speed, to the vertical speed. So keep that. Leveling out. The vertical speed, I find that vertical speed is something that's the hardest to control. Okay, so we're at flight level 2.5. Need to climb a bit more. And I will be giving the autopilot the command within a few seconds. I'm going too fast. Okay, so I will be giving the autopilot command. So enable auto throttle. Now the autopilot will control the throttle itself. Click VNAV, click commands, and now the autopilot should fly on itself. It will make a crazy turn if you haven't followed the path. What are you doing? Okay, so Oh yeah, LNF should be enabled as well. Okay, yeah, I forgot to enable LNF. Normally should go as planned. You can switch the auto brakes to off, like so. The N1 speed is enabled. Flight directors both are on. Okay, very good. You can switch the altimeter setting to standard. And take a look outside at the beautiful scenery of Belgium. So that is where the awful scenery ends. Or just then the place around the airport. So we are on track. The TC, or top of your climb, is the point where we should be at your flight level. You can clear out the flaps, that's something I forgot. If I wasn't talking, that should be a lot of easier flying this airplane. But I need to pay attention to everything, so it's quite harsh right now. Okay, we're leveling out at 10,000 feet, so the landing lights can come up. Our turn off taxi should be off as well. Okay, everything is set. Those can come out when it's already set. Yes, everything is alright. So now there's nothing really special. We can do the PA, play a little bit with that, so we can do the welcome should have been done already. If when we level up I will press this button and you should hear a little PA system in back. If you're not doing a flight with ATC, this is really easy and you should relax and lay back. But if you are using ATC, you should listen to them all the time and listen if you need to change altitude or heading or something like that. So I'm going to wait till I arrive at Heathrow. So we are arriving at our cruising altitude, and I'll take a look in the Zibo's checklist if I need to do anything special. Climbing cruise, so passenger sign can be disabled right now, or fasten seatbelts. Altimeter is set, altimeter cross check, I need to push it as well here, but I'm not using a co-pilot right now, or a first officer, so not really that necessary. Our route for the arrival is already set up. We have done that on ground, so it's done. Also, when ATC advises you to use a different route mid-flight, you can change that in here. RMP for arrival, not really using that. That's all done. Okay, on our descent we will be setting our landing altitude in a moment. I need to look that up. I don't have it right here, so our threshold elevation, which will be the landing altitude, is 78 feet. So I'm going to push that really close to that. 78, let's take 100. So this is the point where the cockpit, or this is the moment where minimums will be called out. We are getting really frosty windows, so maybe I should turn on the window heat as well. So as our top of descent is coming up, I'll be prepping our arrival. So we can see that right here that our top of descent is, so it's right there. Is it there? No, huh? I've already, oh yeah, it's already descending. So I totally forgot about setting your altitude before you hit the top of descent. Then the aircraft will automatically descend with the light. Okay, it should be catching up. So you can see that by those two arrows, this one will indicate your vertical position, and this one will indicate your horizontal position. If these two are in the middle of the screen, you will be perfectly on course. So I'm looking up my ILS height or altitude capture, and that will be 2500, so I'll put it in right here, like so. So when you've hit the top of the descent, make sure you've put your final descent altitude in here before you hit the top of the descent, because if you don't, and you surpass the top of descent, it will just stay at the same cruising altitude. So I had this just at the moment, and when you have that, you can just put in your final descent altitude and then hit this button, and then it should descend automatically, and it will again So I'm going over to the descent checklist. So our landing altitude has been set. This is for if you're using ATC. Our referential speed is put. You need to put that in the approach section. Is it over here? No. Now finally we need to set the auto brakes, which will be 1. I'm not going to push that too hard, and that should be it for the descent. Going over to the approach, ground proximity, fixed landing lights need to be on, passenger altimeter. Okay, all this should be set. So I'm going to look for the London Heathrow ATIS, and that is 119.725. So fill that in right here. 119.725, like so. So when you're approaching London Heathrow, you can switch this to active, and then you should hear the ATIS to listen what the altimeter is. That's mainly our purpose of calling in the ATIS. You can see that the autopilot is mainly doing everything. I'm not flying the airplane right now, and we are approaching England, Great Britain. Okay, so we're below 10,000 feet. We need to activate the landing lights again. The runway turnoffs can come on as well. That's all set. Okay. Now we are approaching London Heathrow. I'm going to call in the ATIS if they are in range yet. Not yet, but I'm going to leave this at active, and ATIS will call in as soon as we get in range. We'll get at 2,500 feet right there normally. Oh, we should be at 6,000 and above, yeah. So let's take a look at the lags page. We will be at 2,500 right over here, and then we'll capture our ILS. So it should be a smooth approach, and then I'm going to show you how to capture the ILS. I've done a tutorial on that, which was actually my first video on this channel, so if you want to go more in detail, and I'll explain it there. We are banking very hard, so maybe I should crank this down a little bit. Okay, let's go over the approach procedure. So ground proximity flap is set at or above 10,000. Our landing lights, that's up here. With flaps down, this landing is needed. No, not needed. Okay, at or above 10,000 feet. Fixed landing line on. Passenger sign needs to be switched to the on position, like so. Altimeter is set, but we need to call into 80, so we need to wait for that. I hope it's the right frequency. Is it? Let's try this one. I've mistaken these frequency. Wait, it's 128.075. Like so. Switch that to active.
London Heathrow information Victor. 600 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 4100 scattered, temperature 14, dew point -15. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runway 27 left, departing runway 27 right. Advise on initial contact you have Victor.
Okay, that's all set up. So our main purpose of the ATIS is right now is 2992 on the altimeter, which is already put in. Most of the time, if you fly in perfect conditions, the altimeter should stay the same on 2992. So we are approaching London Heathrow. We should be visible actually. Let's take a look. London Heathrow. Where are you at? Don't see it yet, but we'll be approaching it very shortly. I will be prepping our arrival. Our speeds are good, 180, and then I'll hit our approach. So going to give the autopilot command on B, then hit approach as well. We need to be a bit lower actually. Should be. So I hope it does capture. Wait a second. I'm going to give it command to A as well. Okay. Both have command. Speed brakes are still up. Okay. We are descending very rapidly. Our localizer is on. We're on the glide slope. Right here. And now we should be able to see some diamonds. There should be 2 diamonds popping up in a second. Oh yeah, our wait a second, our we need to take a look at the frequencies of the runway. So we are landing 27 right. Oh no. Where is, wait a second. Yeah, need to do IFR low en route. If you do it this way, I'm going to do it this way. So click this, tune nav1 and nav2. So those are the frequencies of the ILS, like so. And then I need to know the course, which is 270. Okay, those are filled in 270, 270, right so. And now we see the 2 diamonds. So our localizer on the glide slope has been captured, and on the heading as well. Okay, we are perfectly on the glide slope, and there you see London Heathrow. So landing checklist. Landing, ILS, okay. Approach roll mode has been armed, localizer captured club. Landing gear lever down. Landing down. Gear indicated 3 green. Wait for that. We need to slow down actually to 130, but I'm going to do that in steps. So we have 3 green. Flaps 15. Should have done that already. Engine start switches to continuous, like so. Speed brake lever has been disabled and armed. Should be, yes. Speed brake arm to eliminate, yes. We are still on the glide slope perfectly. Let's get our final approach speed, which is 130. Okay. Flap lever like so, and we need to set the missed approach altitude, which will be 3000 feet. Now let's get our flaps in, which will be our final flaps, will be flaps 30. Like so. Okay, and when we hit our referential speed, I'm going to take command, which will be around now, my airplane. Let's get the alarm off. So try to stay on the glide slope. I'm a little bit below right now. As I said, I don't have any rudder control, so I need to do it mainly with the roll. You can use the peppy lights as a little help to align yourself with the glide slope. So you should see 2 white to red, and then you're perfectly on the glide slope. So as enough. Okay, my throttles. Now I'm in full control of the aircraft. A little bit low. There we go, reverses, speed brakes up. I'm going full reverse, so I don't have any control of that, so just full reverse. Okay. 80 knots, manual braking. There we go. Let's watch for that ground speed of 25 knots right there. Okay. Let go of the brakes and take this exit, and there we go. This was our full flight to London Heathrow. I know I've made a few mistakes, so apart from that, I think it was a successful flight. Now please like the video. This was my first tutorial with voice, so it's really hard for me to use both voice and fly the airplane. Again, this was not really a complex tutorial, it's mainly a beginner's guide, so for anyone who was curious how this plane works, this should give you a good representation of how you can fly the Zibo 738, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!